Hello again, YouTube! This is Dr. Kendo, and I'm here with Scribblenauts Unlimited. This is the object editor commentaries where I create your favorite characters in the Scribblenauts Unlimited object editor. That's just a feature on the Wii U and PC versions of this game, and I make whatever is most popular, most requested by the most amount of different viewers. Today, let's go ahead and start off with the source object of a flower girl for our first creation, which is going to be Star Butterfly from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Awesome. And so we took off the head, took off the arms, took off the legs, and we're going to color up the bottom of the dress like this. But then we're going to use our first stamp after this to be a fez, basically. That'll be the top of the dress here that Star has. So we want that fez definitely, because otherwise there would be a line in the dress that we didn't want. That belt-looking tie, basically. The tying across. Okay, and so Mox, M-O-X, that's one of Maxwell's many brothers, and Maxwell has a huge family in this game, of course, but we took the back arms of Mox. You could also type in Mix to grab kind of the same thing for the most part, but that's Star's arms here, and we got a whalefish top fin. If you're kind of having trouble grabbing that top fin off the whalefish, really try to put your cursor or mouse next to the point of it. There's like a little pointy kind of part on the end. And so a hairy fish, we actually took this side fin of the hairy fish, and now we're typing in jellyfish. Of course, we're going to grab the main body of the jellyfish. There's probably a ton of stamps you could do for this. By the way, we are going to run out of stamp space. I know it. There's a lot of detail to this character, and so I know that we will not have enough stamp space to include every single last little minute detail and stuff like that, like this little jellyfish body to be that little graphic on her dress. We're probably not going to be able to give it a face, but I want to give the little star a face right here. So we do have the squid tentacle pieces. There's like these upper tentacle pieces that are basically just a line where the tentacle connects to the squid's body, sort of. It basically makes a big black line, and so we did that for going across Star's chest. And the little star down below is, of course, just typing in Star, and you want the star from space for that. We went with a dot twice, painted white for the little eyes on that star, and a pimple is what we've typed in, but I'm actually also going to try a wart, and I think we'll do that actually for both of the pupils for the little star eye right there. So actually wart 2 times. Wart can shrink down smaller than the pimple can, and so just paint it all the way black. That's why I chose that. And we're going to go with chalk. Of course, this is a piece of the writing chalk. Chalk will yield multiple results when you type it in this game. Anyway, here on the 6th page, it's 6 out of 23 pages for your color patterns and stuff. You know, when you click the paintbrush down there in the bottom middle of the screen and you look under the texture patterns and whatnot, it's on the 6th page. There's that yellow and purplish pink color checker pattern right there. That's what we gave for the chalk, and the chalk legs basically is what that's going to be. You can also use probably the letter I and several other things. We're going to use the letter I actually right now for the bottom of the shoes, and those shoes, those boots are actually a penguin. We took the wing on the side there of the penguin's body, and Fang. Fang is going to be twice, so one on each of the boots right there, and again, we probably won't have enough stamp space for it, so I'm going to leave the little eyes off of her crazy boots right there. I'm going to type in lace and do that twice to go beneath the dress, because kind of at the bottom there is that lacy frill, and so that's gonna do that. And I did want to, since I can see one thing we left off, that little star right there, it's a pretty important detail probably, is the little mouth, and so for that I just did a nursery fish side fin. That's just kind of in the middle of the nursery fish when you type that in. Tim Borelli, that's 2 L's at the end. Tim Borelli is one of the 5th cell members. We can grab his back arm, basically paint it all the way white, shrink it down to the size of those Mox arm sleeves right there, and yep, this is gonna be the stamp limit after we copy it. So that'll be it actually. There was a lot more details I wish I could get to, but this game, although called Scribblenauts Unlimited, it does have a limit to how many stamps you can put down, so how many pieces of your object. That's actually why we're creating the head separate from the body, and I'll show you how to connect those after this. This is the properties editor. It's just where I read background information and fun facts about whatever we're creating in this series. So let's get to it quickly. Star vs. the Forces of Evil is an American TV animation series that premiered on Disney XD. The show was created by Darren Nefsey, who also worked on storyboards and more for other big shows before Star. She's actually the 2nd woman to create an animated series for Disney television animation at the time of this recording, and the 1st woman to create a Disney XD series. The show was renewed for its 4th season on February 28th, 2017. Star is a magical princess from the dimension called Muni. After being given a family heirloom on her 14th birthday, she then causes a big accident and is sent to Earth's dimension as as a foreign exchange student to then live with Marco Diaz's family. And we'll create Marco after this one too, for the record. But yes, we've started off with the head as the source object. We're gonna now make her head. By the way, of course, on the body object, you could have like tried to add some wings and stuff. If you want to get rid of some stamps, you could try to add wings maybe. If you want to do like small, you could do grass probably. For that, just wanted to acknowledge that. We've got a cheerleader's head. You want this specific cheerleader. That's why you probably saw me type it in twice. You know, I redid it after I didn't get the cheerleader that I wanted right here. And so after we've kind of painted it up like this with all these colors, I'm going to go with an amber. The amber is going to be all the way white as you can get that. And we're going to use that for both of the eyes. You know, Star's eyes, as well as a lot of the characters in this show, they're really big. And so the amber is a good stamp for that. Nursery fish, we'll go back to that fin of the nursery fish. It's so tiny, so it's kind of a good stamp to get little tiny details and lines in there. And so I'm going to type in a heart, and the heart, of course, is the shape heart, not the organ, but we're going to take the hearts for her cheeks right there. She's got her little heart cheeks. And oval is, of course, the shape that we're placing down for the iris, or the color of her eyes. And I'm going to go with cuttlefish. If you look in the middle kind of arms or tentacle pieces in the front of the cuttlefish, just grab the middle one and not the very end of it, but grab the kind of base piece where it connects to the cuttlefish's head. We're using that stamp right there, painted all the way black, to be the pupils in her eyes right there. And whiskers, what you can type in. If you type in eyelash, it'll get you an eye instead. And so the whiskers can be really good for the eyelashes here on Star Butterfly's head. And so we've got a sweet roll next. The sweet roll is going to act basically as an ear right here. And so you can really turn it either direction and it looks like an ear, but I think for Star we'll go this way. And I'm going to use a surfboard as the remaining kind of piece of her headband, I guess, right here. And we will divide up where that headband piece is meeting the surfboard. That comes from the cheerleader. First, I'm putting down two fangs, of course, for the little horns on the headband there for Star. And to divide it all up, we'll do a black mamba. I'm going to grab that back tail piece, the very far back, and that's going to be a piece of her hair, basically, kind of coming over the headband on that side. And so that's why I was mentioning, you know, we will divide it up and cover up that kind of line that was there in a good way. This is the way. On page 20 of the 29-page library of random shapes and stuff, it's basically after you press that stamp icon down kind of near the bottom middle, there's a little arm connector icon there on the left side. Well, you've got 29 pages then of just random shapes and things. It's mostly body parts and stuff. A lot of them do match up with a human or humanoid assigned to the game, the dictionary of the game. But for instance, when we take this beauty and grab the back arm of it, you're going to see that it actually, while it looks very, very similar, it cannot shrink down as small as we need it to. So then we have to grab it from the 29-page library. In essence, the equivalent is that bottom middle arm on the 20th page. So you could see that the beauty, when we actually typed in beauty manually and grabbed the back arm of that female beauty, it wasn't working out for us because it wouldn't shrink small enough again. So that's the unfortunate thing for Scribblenauts Unmasked users. You can manually type in that stuff, but ultimately you have to find a replacement stamp probably if it won't shrink down far enough for you. And we've got a haystack coming up next, and that's going to be one of our last little things here for the head of Star Butterfly. And so we've got the haystack down below. In the properties editor for your head object, you want to be sure that the scripting is set up like this. Under the equipment tab, you click on that on the second half of the screen here down at the bottom. You can see it says can be worn on the face like glasses. You want to fill in that circle because then the script will work how you want it to. Otherwise, you'll put the head object into the hands of your body object and it'll just hold onto the head in its hands rather than actually go up where the head should be. So this is important. You want to go back to edit your Star Butterfly's body. Make sure that you do this. Click the button here on your left side panel of buttons that can turn on the green grids. That basically has Maxwell's head as a silhouette with a banana and a wheel and stuff and a dotted line all around that. Top right button. That'll show all these green grids where all the little pieces of your object are and can be and stuff. And so this grid where the head is, you want to click on that. You know, just tap it if you're on the Wii U or click it if you're on PC. And make sure by layer to layer it behind the body because otherwise the hair will then show up in front of the body and it just will not make sense. You know, that huge haystack of hair, it would be like down in front of her body. It just wouldn't look right, trust me. So this is kind of what it should look like. We're going to go ahead and place this head of Star right here on the body. And so that's mostly where it should be. of course, with that script, can be worn on the face like glasses. This is kind of how it should be, but you can notice that the hair does kind of peek out before that back arm. So you can see Star's back arm. There's a little smidgen of hair kind of coming across as it passes the body and stuff like that. So you can turn the head actually to be even layered behind that arm if you wish as well, if you really don't want that to show up right there. But there it is. I mean, that's our creation for Star so far. We'll probably create her wand a little bit later on, but I wanted to go ahead and get to Marco right now, so let's go with KAHLIL REEDY. You can see how to spell that source object's name up at the top. This is one of the 5th cell members. I liked this as the source character because the torso right there has this like setup for a hoodie. Unfortunately, there's a lot of shading and whatnot, so you can see actually as I painted it this kind of reddish maroon color, there's that black shading on, it would be to our left side. I put down a glow stick down at the bottom for some more layers of the hoodie down below, and a hanky is actually going to be for the front pocket of the hoodie, and we don't have the line right now, so we need to get that. I can type in a jellyfish and grab the upper tentacle piece kind of near the jellyfish's body and use that as a black line kind of going down the middle of the hoodie. Edwin is what we've typed in next, and we got Edwin's arm. Of course, this is the front arm. We'll grab his back arm now, so I'm going to go ahead and retype in Edwin and put that down, and pretty good stamp to kind of get multiple parts. You know, it's like we get the arm and the hand in that one stamp. And so I'm going to go with chalk again. This is the writing piece of chalk once more, and that's going to be for the neck right here. So make sure that that is attached to the torso area so it doesn't move around in any weird way. On the 19th page of that 29-page library that I was speaking of before, there's an arm with a little bit of a curl in it at the top or bottom, depending on where you're looking at the arm from. But basically, that is going to be for the start of the pants right here, and they've got a little bit of bagginess to them, and so that's why I chose that arm specifically. A chicken finger is what we've typed in after that. That can be for Marco's shoes. He's got shoes reminiscent of the All-Stars. You know, they have the white toe cap, which we'll include in a second. I've grabbed this tentacle piece from an octopus, which is on the left side after you type in octopus. It has a slight bend to it, kind of near the top, so that bend can actually go around with the front of the shoes. And so to give that toe cap, we'll do we'll type in worm and just use that back final tail piece. The worm is sort of divided into 3 parts, so that back tail piece of the worm is good. Jellyfish, that same line piece from the hoodie before, we can actually use for some shoelaces and whatnot to show on the shoes right here, so I just put those kind of to the side of the toe cap and the arm. And so here we've got the 29-page library, once again grabbing that beauty arm, the female beauty's back arm. It's on the 20th page, kind of in the bottom middle. We'll go ahead and name him, but that beauty arm was put down on the legs and stuff to show some more bagginess in Marco's pants right there. So we'll just kind of give it some basic scripting for our object here, and this is kind of where you can edit the health and all these other things. One of the scripts that I do on pretty much all of my characters for the most part, if you want them to not run away from a fight or anything, I do whenever this object loses or gains health, then you do a new script for then it will add an adjective, and you just make that adjective applied to the self and do brave or fearless, something like that, any synonym of those. But I'm also going to add in cautious for Marco. I know that he's kind of the safety guy. He's very safe and cautious. And so here you're going to see the design for Marco's head here that I've made, and so we actually, to create this, started off with the head as the source object, but then we put down the body of a chick, and so of course that's the chick animal, little chicken chick, and so that's the main part of the head, and eyebrow is what we've typed in after that, paint it all the way black, and that's the curve of the nose right there where that bridge of his nose is. And I'm going to go with the 22nd page of the 29-page library. There's an arm right here, this arm shape. Again, you can kind of keep sticking with the beauty or whatever you want to choose. If you're in Scribblenauts Unmasked, just look for an arm that is one solid color, and then you can paint it all the way black to emulate this. Jellyfish, that same line piece from the upper tentacle piece. We use 3 of those actually, kind of in the left, middle, and right side for this smile, or mini smile, I guess, on Marco's head here. And so I'm not trying to type D. Let me get rid of that. And sailfish is what we've got next. The sailfish, that bottom middle-ish fin right there, that's actually for the 2 eyebrows as well as some hair here over that sweet roll. That is his ear. I'm going to go with whisker next, and this whisker can be for some pieces of hair, just a little black line hairs coming out in the middle back of his head right there. I'll go with the black mamba once more, and we're going to take that back tail piece yet again, and it's actually in 2 places on this creation. One is behind that sweet roll ear for some hair, and then also for a little piece of hair kind of going up pointing up like that. And actually, speaking of hair, we just used hair as the stamp. So type in hair, and just below the ear down there, kind of in the back, is some more hair for Marco. I've got a pimple coming up next. You guys know that, of course, Marco has that mole there on his right cheek. Of course, it looks like it's to our left, but that is his right if you position yourself looking in the same direction. And so, after that, we will type in a dramatic chipmunk. That's like basically become a secondary meme in itself around this channel. You gotta announce it in some goofy, dramatic way. But alright, the dramatic chipmunk body was for the main white of the eyes right there for Marco, and we've got an oval to be the color, the iris, and so that was painted brown, and a dot will be for the pupil in there, so paint that all the way black, shrink it down a little bit, and it's looking good. Of course, I'm making Marco look all the way to the side, like that, as you guys noticed. Again, just to remind you, under the Properties editor on the Equipment tab, just check off that third circle down on the bottom half of the screen that says can be worn on the face like glasses, and you should be good to go. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like from the beginning. When you give your Marco head to the body of Marco, you can see that it is a little bit off. You know, it's like it did at least put the head up where the head should be, but it's like slightly off. You know, it needs to be moved forward and up. So to do that, we can edit the body object for Marco, go back into the object editor and edit it, turn on those green grids from before that I was talking about, and we can basically grab where that head grid is. You know, it's a big empty space of green. We can just move it up and to the, I would say it's for us, it would be to the right to make it go forward a little bit, but just move it where you need to move it. So after starting off with an I, you know, just letter I as the source object, we can make Star's wand there. This is, of course, the first appearance Star wand. It's not the newer seasons design of it and everything, but just kind of that original design. I know that this royal magic wand, you know, it can shoot many things. You can see her use it for many different purposes, I guess. And so one of them is like a jelly bean hallucination mist thing attack or whatever you want to call it. And so I actually just, out of all the different things I could have chosen, I've chosen jelly beans to make it shoot. So here I'm going to grab the wand and shoot out those jelly beans. It's like a pretty fast action shot right there. 4-round burst of jelly beans. But all right, here are our characters from Star versus the Forces of Evil. Of course, we just have Star and Marco right here. Any other characters from the show would just have to be requested. And as I mentioned at the beginning, whatever is most popular, most requested, each week, based on your votes in the comments section, is what gets created. I'm just going to quickly say, those who ask about, you know, if I live stream or not, I do live stream every single Monday over on Twitch, so that's www.twitch.tv/drkendo, twitch.tv/drkendo. You can always see updates to that and more things on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/drkendo commentaries, just like my YouTube channel is spelled, or on Twitter, of course, with the handle @dr_kendo, also newly on Instagram. And there's a link in the description to the new Kendopolis Discord server, so if you want to chat with your fellow members of Kendopolis, and if Discord is your thing, check out the description. But okay, I will catch you guys on the next vid. I love everyone, and thanks for viewing.
Down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as a spectacle.